Goldberg's going to be able to do in this main event, aside from SummerSlam 2021.
Gonna have a good time with this one.
Yeah,
what do we have? What are we reviewing tonight?
Backlash 2003. Gotta do all these 2003 pods. You know, it's good to have my buddy Tomas back after a brief little break.
I'm back. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk about some wrestling because we got some good wrestling coming up.
Yep, including with All Elite Wrestling, you and your CM Punk shirt, which also arrived in the mail for me. I'm sure every wrestling fan has one of those now. But
oh yeah, he broke the internet again. He sold 10,000 shirts.
God.
Since he re-debuted, and that's absolutely amazing.
That's insane. That's insane.
10, now, pardon me while I go add the Adam Cole shirt, the Bryan Danielson shirt, and an AEW zip-up sweater to my cart.
While I get through all the pleasantries here, of course. But folks, if you guys are new to the channel, Tomas and I are here discussing wrestling every single month. We're doing all 2003 pay-per-views every single month. We also got, you know, the new stuff like Grand Slam and Extreme Rules coming up on
Extreme Rules?
Yeah, quite the horror show, isn't it? But
I was just gonna say we got a horror show last year, and now we get
the actual
normal match. Show. Yeah. Normal match, the pay-per-view.
Yep. You might as well just bring back Backlash or Unforgiven or something like that. But yeah, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button. As you know, I'm talking all things cinema and all things entertainment over here. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, which I'm hoping to reach by the end of the year. Thank you guys all so much for the support up to this point. If you like what you hear by the end of this pod, also hit that thumbs up on your way out. It would be tremendous. It really helps us get this content out there. But Tomas, you know, I really wish we had a better show to discuss right now because this show was very underwhelming.
It really was. You had WrestleMania 19, which was amazing in all its own rights. This was like WrestleMania. I don't even want to say hangover. This is like WrestleMania.
Backlash.
I got food poisoning after going on a cruise.
It's indeed WrestleMania Backlash for sure, but barely. But yeah, this show took place in Worcester, Massachusetts, which I can't remember the last time there was even a WWE show in Worcester. But can we talk about this awesome set for Backlash? That's one thing I think these shows have going for them is their stages. This is one thing I miss about the Ruthless Aggression era. Every single show had its own unique set design. And Backlash had these big arches. Like, it was insane. Absolutely
And the
insane.
stages, like, evolved as the years went on. Like, they added the giant blades, like, the following year. And, you know, every single stage felt like, oh, this is Backlash. I'm watching Backlash. Oh, next month we get Judgment Day, and we get the flames, and we get the scaffolding with the fire and all that stuff. And then we're going to get a new pay-per-view called Bad Blood that's going to be, you know, centered around a giant teardrop of blood on the stage. Like, WWE, you have collectively more money than you could ever ask for in the year 2021. How is it that you had more creativity in 2003 than you do now?
Can we bring back these unique sets, please? At least make Extreme Rules stand out, but I know they're not going to. But with that said, we'll just go ahead and get this show on the road. We do open up with the WWE Tag Team Championships once again on the line. Team Angle is defending against Los Guerreros, who are brand new, newly minted baby faces. The crowd is so behind the Guerreros and their antics. It's so endearing. But Tomas, I got a question for you. Did you remember this photo of Kurt on the easel gimmick that Team Angle was going on?
I do, and I want to say I actually ordered this pay-per-view as a kid.
Yeah,
my goddad got us WrestleMania. I wanted, you know, this pay-per-view because I wanted to see what was going to happen next. And let's go into a little backstory of what's going on in this tag team title match. As you know, Haas and Benjamin are still Team Angle, but Kurt Angle finally took some time off to take care of that broken neck that he suffered at WrestleMania. So they didn't say Angle broke his neck. They just said Angle was taking some time off after WrestleMania. In honor of Angle, Haas and Benjamin would carry around this portrait of Kurt Angle. It's not even like a grand portrait. It's just a blown up photo of him on an easel with Angle's gold medals. Haas and Benjamin were acting like Angle was dead. at this point.
I guarantee you this was like Kurt's profile render on WWE.com back in 2003 that they were bringing to the
it
ring.
was just the standard him standing with his hands on his hips, giving the little angle smirk that we've all come to know and love.
And Taz on commentary was especially funny here. He was like, oh yeah, Kurt looks great, Cole. Look at the medals, look at them smiling there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know?
And by the end of this match, which I'm not going to get into now, obviously, this picture would kind of become the focal point of this feud.
It kind of would, yeah. And the fact that the Guerreros are stealing every single thing that Team Angle owns, you know, which will play into this aftermath for sure.
But like you said, Los Guerreros, Chavo and Eddie, they are, again, newly minted baby faces. The crowd's going wild for them. I was a full-blown Los Guerreros, especially Eddie fan at this point. Yes. So going into this as a 9-year-old kid, I wanted Eddie and Chavo to take these titles.
Oh, man, I loved the Guerreros so much. Chavo is fantastic. Eddie was one of the best wrestlers in the world for sure. But, I mean, going back and watching this match, though, in hindsight, it made me kind of sad because Michael Cole listed Eddie Guerrero's stats as, or intangibles, if you will, 5'8", 228 pounds. That is gigantic. Eddie Guerrero looks like, you know, he was so muscular. Like he had a big, like gigantic turtle shell on his back at this point.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Eddie this is probably the best shape Eddie was, considering everything he had to bounce back from in the past few years.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like for a guy as small as he was really packing on the weight there. So,
oh yeah, you know, Chavo not sad. A slacker either. Speaking of the commentary, Michael Cole said something that it never really hit me until I watched this match. Chavo is the more calm, collected, and quiet of the Guerreros. Yeah. And I have to definitely agree there. Eddie was the one with the charisma. He had the gift of gab. Chavo was there to support his uncle, but Chavo was the more quiet and calm and reserved one who focused on his wrestling. And Chavo's wrestling skills really shined in this match.
Everybody's wrestling skills shined in this match. This was a really solid opener, technically. I mean, there was chain wrestling. You know, this is chain wrestling 101 here. The Guerreros were having fun with this crowd. They could go full-on babyface antics at this point. But Eddie Guerrero, here's some attention to detail, because they're still lying, cheating, and stealing. Shelton's trying to get into the ring at some point. Eddie wants to tag out to Chavo, but the ref is preoccupied. So what does Eddie do? He just claps. He just claps. He does it not once, but twice, you know, to tag Chavo in and tag himself back in. And the ref thinks nothing of it. And Shelton.
And, you know, that would become like a landmark heel tactic. But it's so weird to see a babyface tag team execute it. And it's just, that was the great things about the Guerreros. Like, everything they did, you should not be cheering for it, but you couldn't help them because I don't think we've gotten to the era of the vignettes yet, have we?
Oh, I think the vignettes were out by this point. I think they were definitely out because they were,
you know, not to get on too much of a side tangent.
That's how they got over.
Eddie and Chavo, and I think this is how they got over on SmackDown. They were running vignettes, basically, of them lying and cheating and stealing. Like, they would, you know, hustle a couple people out of a golf game by, you know, cheating to win the game. They would go to a person's house disguised as pool cleaners, and then they would throw a giant party in their backyard, just an excuse so they could use their pool. And these were just, you know, disgusting, heinous tactics the Guerreros would do, but they were funny. They were funny skits, and I look forward to seeing these every Friday on SmackDown.
I absolutely loved those Guerrero vignettes. I think my favorite one involved a golf cart back in the day, and they like tricked a guy like sticking the golf ball to the tee, and he couldn't hit it. You know, it was just
yeah. That was when they hustled those guys out of the golf game. That was great.
Yep, that was it. But I mean, yeah, this story of this match basically was just all about fair play. The Guerreros do something to cheat, and Team Angle returns the favor. Like, Shelton is clapping his way into the match. They are choking the Guerreros with the tag rope. But you know, one thing that was really interesting about this match, my friend, is that the heat was on Eddie, not on Chavo. Chavo was the hot tag guy, which I thought was a really unique look for this match.
Not only was the heat on Eddie, the heat on Eddie was for a very long time. I want to say a good bulk of this match was just Eddie taking the heat.
Yeah, no, it really was.
They even mentioned on commentary that Eddie had been in the ring for a very long time. Yeah. And that's one excuse me, that's one kind of set piece of tag team wrestling that I really, really miss. Trust me. I know I wasn't on the AEW review, but that Young Bucks Lucha Bros match is my match of the year. It was absolutely insane.
Yes.
I love the flippy shit. I love the absolutely insane things that they would do. But we're missing that textbook style wrestling of how would I think it was Michael Cole who coined it best. Tag teams cutting off the ring, keeping one participant in their corner, and then constantly working over them the entire match. It was excellent ring psychology. This match really highlighted that, and we don't get that anymore.
They're cutting the ring in half. They're cutting the ring in half is what they're doing. They're keeping Eddie like at their corner and not letting him get anywhere close to Chavo, even though Eddie got a few close calls, and you know, those false hot tags were really, really nice. But then once Chavo does get the hot tag, the crowd absolutely explodes, and he is all over Team Angle at this point. Eddie does hit 3 Amigos. What a frog splash also, indeed. Nobody did it better. Nobody can convince me otherwise. But
nope.
After that, Team Angle basically rolls up Chavo, and Shelton holds Chavo's leg under the bottom rope, and they steal one. They steal one, taking one out of the Guerreros playbook. They retain the titles.
Okay, I would like to talk about the aftermath of this match because it really played into...
Yes.
It really plays into my childhood memory of this. I was really upset that Los Guerreros didn't win the titles.
Yeah.
But as Benjamin and Haas are exiting the ring, first of all, I love what Eddie and Chavo did. Eddie catapults Chavo over the top rope, and they knock down the world's greatest tag team.
They do.
And then, in the first instance in my life, I have never seen before, Eddie and Chavo steal the tag team titles.
They do.
And me, being 9 years old and seeing that, me and my brother got so excited for that. We looked at each other and we said, that means Eddie and Chavo are the champs, right? And I looked at they had the titles and I'm like, absolutely, that means they're the champions. They deserve to win. And I had no logic behind this. I had absolutely no logic behind this. I saw they're the good guys. They deserve to be champions. They're the champions. So Eddie and Chavo scoop up the tag team titles. They run out of the arena. I'm dumbfounded because I've never seen this before. And then in my favorite part, they hop into the lowrider, they play La Cucaracha on the horn, and they leave the arena. Los Guerreros have literally stole the tag team titles.
Again, all's about fair play. But, I mean, right before we get to that, though, after Team Angle wins, I love how they sell by the picture. I love how they go and they hug the portrait, and I'm like, what the? This is so dorky. This is exactly what an Angle would do, though.
Proud. They made Kurt proud that night.
Well, stay tuned for a couple months when we talk about vengeance. But, yeah, Team Angle is selling the picture. To your point, Eddie catapults Chavo, and the picture actually does fall over, and Team Angle is stunned. They're like, what the fuck? You knocked over our leader. How dare you?
Yeah,
you know, it's just
they didn't knock over a picture. They knocked over Kurt Angle.
Yep. But, yeah, to your point, they do steal the tag titles, even though little Tomas is probably very disappointed that they are not, in fact, the WWE Tag Team Champions right now.
Nope. But that was the very first time I ever saw tag team title belts in general get stolen. Like, it doesn't happen a lot, but in the handful of times I have seen it, it blows my mind because the commentators have to constantly remind everyone, I know this person has the belt, but they are not the champion.
They are not. They're
not. Again, they don't do that as often as, honestly, I wish they should. I think stealing the title should happen. Not every month, not in every feud, but maybe a little more often. I don't want my most recent memory to be of the great Khali stealing the WWE Championship from John Cena. Because that did, in fact, happen.
Better yet, Jinder
Mahal.
I
think the last time it happened,
Jinder Mahal technically stealing the WWE title from Randy Orton in 2017. Jinder. I think so.
No. Actually, okay, I remember that. But I think the most recent time it happened was when NB technically stole the United States title of Apollo Crews.
Oh, yep. You're right. MVP did.
They were supposed to fight at
Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules, yes. And then a Cruz couldn't make the show, so MVP just took the title. So I think that's the last time it technically happened.
And even though MVP wasn't even the United States champion, he was the one that debuted the new look United States title last year.
Exactly. So
you know, it's a
WWE
common trope.
I know it's hard to do this, but get a little creative. and
Yeah.
start doing things like this again. Not just with stealing the titles, but with booking of your matches too. Just think about it, okay? Think about it. Sleep on it.
Just a little bit. Don't put Roman Reigns on Raw and panic. But speaking of creative, the Guerreros do hop in there with their trophies in their lowrider, which I do believe is the first time a lowrider ever made an appearance on a WWE program with the Guerreros.
I think so, yeah.
So
yeah.
Because they didn't make their entrance with a lowrider, that's for sure. But
no, that would not be.
Certainly to be continued on the Judgment Day pod next month. I gave this match 3.25 stars. This was certainly a fun enough opener. This is textbook tag team wrestling. I really like the chess match psychology here, and it certainly left the door open for a very fun feud to continue.
Oh yeah, and a bittersweet match that would happen at Judgment Day. More on that later.
Yes, more on that later in a match that I'm sure will make Tomas pass out, judging from who actually wins the tag team titles. But
not necessarily, but like I say, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we sure will. But we come backstage, and Test is hitting on Tori Wilson for some reason. Why?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, kind of remember this. I kind of remember watching Raw and Test. It's basically WWE gave up on Test again. They gave up on his babyface push.
So
yeah, they gave up on his babyface push. So what do? Make him an asshole. How do you make him an asshole? Cheat on his girlfriend.
His girlfriend by going after Tori Wilson, who was a very attractive woman on the main roster.
Yes.
But his girlfriend Stacy was also very attractive. So like
exactly,
it just paints Test as an asshole. That's pretty much what this does.
So basically, Test forces himself onto Tori Wilson, asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And who happens to see this interaction? Why, it's Sable.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Sable, for those who don't know?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, she was a star in the 90s. And when she was in the 90s, she actually was a decent wrestler. She used to wrestle men. But they brought her back in the worst way possible. More on that later.
You don't say.
More on that later.
You don't say.
Yeah.
But more on that later.
Little 9-year-old me sure liked Sable, but I digress.
Yikes.
Yeah.
But I mean, little 6-year-old me actually did like one of the combatants in this next match for sure.
Okay, so envision this. I'm 9, you're 6. You're watching SmackDown on a Thursday night, and you see a very ominous promo. There's a white background. There's this very strange man with a goatee, and he's talking about conspiracies. He's talking about whether God is real or not. He's talking about all of these things that don't make sense.
No.
And then it's over, and they don't elaborate on it. You think you may have had a fever dream, but no, it's Shawn O'Haire, back from the dead, from WCW. This is his new gimmick, kind of like this antichrist, rebellious, cult, kind of conspiracy theorist.
Kind of like an agnostic in a lot of ways.
Yeah. You know? He's making you question yourself. He's making you question everything you've ever taught and you believed in. And he is re-debuted on SmackDown. And, you know, after watching this, kind of jumping the gun, this was a really good gimmick. And it's a damn shame they never followed up on it. O'Haire really had something going with this.
Yes, O'Haire is wrestling Rikishi on this show, who is a very popular babyface, but this definitely felt like more of a feud between Rikishi and the man who is in Shawn O'Haire's corner, which was, who is in Shawn O'Haire's corner?
Rowdy Roddy Piper. His return at WrestleMania.
For reasons.
His return at WrestleMania was not a one-off. He is back on SmackDown full-time. He is O'Haire's manager. And on an episode of Piper's Pit, I remember this. I remember this as a kid. I remember Rikishi just coming out pissed. Why is he pissed? Because 20 years ago, Piper smashed Jimmy Snuka's head in with the coconut. An iconic moment. Don't get me wrong. On Piper's Pit.
Definitely.
When you think about, moments on talk shows, you talk about Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. Or, Marty Jannetty did that to himself. Let's get the story straight. And you always think of Piper. You think of Jerry Lawler slapping Andy Kaufman on the Andy Kaufman show. And you think about Piper smashing in Snuka's head with that coconut. Iconic moment.
Absolutely.
Why are we making this relevant now?
Why not? It's something for Roddy Piper to do. And I mean, I'll give credit to WWE for actually bringing in some continuity with Piper upon his return. And the Hot Rod actually did get a huge pop from this crowd at Backlash.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's what I was laughing at. Piper is the, he's the quintessential heel. He was pretty much the Joker to Hulk Hogan's Batman in the mid-'80s, back in Vince McMahon's heyday. But you pair him up with this agnostic, rebellious, tatted up character like Sean O'Haire. Like, it just feels like such an odd couple pairing to me. It just never really made sense. It didn't make
Maybe WWE was scared on how O'Haire would perform by himself, that they felt like he didn't need a mouthpiece. His promos were pretty solid.
He did not
considering
need a
those
mouthpiece.
vignettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very odd pairing indeed, but for what it was, I think it worked. Piper definitely was not going to go in there and work Rikishi by himself.
No.
More on that later at the next
No. Absolutely not. But, I mean,
this wasn't a bad match, in my opinion.
We were talking about this, and I have no clue what you saw in this thing. I mean,
continue your thought.
I mean, bless Piper's heart and bless O'Haire's heart. Neither man are no longer with us, but there was no way that Piper was going to get in the ring by himself at this phase of his life. And I mean, you do make a good point. Sean O'Haire, like, they didn't really know what they had with him, but this guy was a former WCW Tag Team Champion, for crying out loud. I think he was more than capable of holding his own. But
absolutely,
maybe if you gave him like, I don't know, maybe if you gave him like a smaller tag team partner like Shannon Moore and you like thrust them into the tag team scene, like that could probably work. But
yeah, I was really excited to see what they were going to do with O'Haire on his own. And like, I agree with the masses. It was unfortunate they dropped the ball on him, not to jump the gun here, but this is O'Haire's pay-per-view debut. And what better person to put up against than a solid mid-carder, a solid mid-card veteran in Rikishi that could honestly just put O'Haire over and make him look good.
Better yet, a solid mid-card veteran big dude like Rikishi, because this guy is a freaking wide load in the ring, but he can move so quick. Rikishi, here's my main problem with the match, though. Again, it was more about Rikishi versus Piper, because once the bell rings, the big quiche makes a beeline for Roddy Piper. It doesn't even give O'Haire a second thought, which really sucks. But
now that you say it out loud, it kind of feels like O'Haire did not debut with Piper as his manager. It's like Piper went out and got himself a heavy to deal with Rikishi.
Yep.
Exactly, and it's like the focus shouldn't have been. It's kind of like AJ Styles and Omos. AJ Styles has a big bodyguard to watch his back. It kind of feels like Piper went out and got O'Haire for those same reasons. When, if you want to make the comparison, the dynamic between Styles and Omos is that Omos works as a big bodyguard that watches his back. They promoted O'Haire like this big deal on his own. And even though O'Haire was able to get himself over with the promos, they did not. They kind of, I don't want to say they set him up for failure, but they did not put him in the position that he, needed to be. It'd be different if O'Haire debuted and he says, oh, by the way, I'm going to have one of the smartest men in professional wrestling in my corner, Roddy Piper. No. I remember that Piper's Pit. Rikishi was going to beat the hell out of Piper, and O'Haire came out for the save. So it's like Piper went himself, got him some backup.
He did. He just went and got himself some backup, and I didn't even think about that AJ Omos analogy in this context. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because I do see a lot of similarities here, because I don't really think AJ and Omos fit together well at all, really. I mean, AJ, again, he works so much better on his own, but, that's just Vince McMahon's thinking at this point. But here's, again, so there was a nice double super kick spot in this match. I'll give him credit for that. But I don't know if it was just me. Did Roddy Piper miss his cue? Did he go in too early for the coconut spot? Like, he had to, it was
I feel like he did, because he was jaw-jacking with the referee for a little longer than he should have.
And then he went back out of the ring, and then like 2 seconds later, he goes back in, and he's like, okay, now I go to hit Rikishi with the coconut or something like that. And I'm working on a Piper impression. So,
and then Piper takes that coconut shot right to the head, and he sells it like he got shot.
He really does. Like, Rikishi pulled out like a big FMG 9 for anybody into Modern Warfare 3 on here. Like, and Piper sells it like he's freaking, like, he's unconscious at this point. It was such an amazing sell for the coconut. Rikishi gets
And
his
you tell
payback.
me, jumping a little ahead, did Piper gig? Or did he really just get smashed out?
I
hard
think
in the
so.
head with the coconut?
I think he was bleeding from the coconut, was he? Like, I completely
He was.
forgot. Yeah. Piper
was really committed to that spot.
Piper was the best, man. I miss him so much. But Keish gets his payback, and then Shawn O'Haire hits that very impressive finisher. It's like kind of a reverse Death Valley driver. Like, he gets him up in the fireman's carry, but he drops him the other way. Like, I totally don't remember what it was called, but that's what he pinned Rikishi with, and it looks very impressive.
I know what it was called. Taz called it that move. Taz said, "There's that move."
I want to see Shawn O'Haire hit that move.
Exactly, that's what it was. And you know what? I don't remember O'Haire wrestling on any other pay-per-views after this, so I don't think they ever gave it a name.
No, they probably didn't. They probably gave it a name on Velocity, but in any case, Shawn O'Haire beats Rikishi clean as a whistle, sort of. A star and a quarter. It was a match. I mean, this would have fared better on SmackDown, but
I think I liked it because O'Haire was pretty impressive in the match, and I just keep thinking of what if.
What if?
You know?
What if with Shawn O'Haire?
Yep.
Again,
in an alternate universe, Shawn O'Haire would be world champion.
Yeah, what if? Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing to think about for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you obviously liked this match more than I did, though. I mean, I gave it a star and a quarter. I'm curious to see where you are.
Honestly, thinking about star and a half. You know, again, it was what it was.
All right.
It was a debut pay-per-view match for someone that was supposed to go a lot more over than it was. I think I just really wanted to praise O'Haire because, believe it or not, O'Haire's presence is starting to become relevant again. Because people are saying that Karrion Kross's promo last Monday on Raw was very similar to Shawn O'Haire. And they're wondering if Karrion Kross is going to adopt that character. Which honestly, if O'Haire's influence was that strong that it's going to live on through other wrestlers, then O'Haire does his job. O'Haire is resting easy right now.
And probably someone who's going to be a WWE champion at some point, like Karrion Kross. I know you probably don't want to hear that, Tomas, but that's probably going to be the case at some point. Maybe within the next year. Who knows? But, I mean, with that being said, here we go. I've got a few bones to pick with this one. Rob Van Dam and Kane are defending their brand new World Tag Team titles, which they won on the Fallout Raw after WrestleMania. They are defending against the Dudley Boyz. First of all, here's my bone that I have to pick with Peacock specifically. So, no Bombshell. I was expecting that. What the fuck? No one of a kind. No one of a kind for Rob Van Dam, and no Slow Chemical for Kane. Like,
what happened on this pay-per-view? Because Slow Chemical played at No Way Out.
Dude.
So did One of a Kind.
Come on. Like, seriously? Like, is it that hard to really get all of those theme songs? Is it really hard to get the royalties? Like, or is WWE just that stingy with their royalty rights? I really don't understand it. But, I mean, on that note, all the, like, dubbed music aside, I mean, Kane's theme is still a bop, but you also have one Chief Morley as your special guest referee, which, again, what the fuck? I guess he was trying to recruit the Dudley Boyz to be part of the Bischoff administration. Yeah, so we also had, so Chief Morley is your special guest referee because he was trying to recruit the Dudleys.
That decision was made on Heat. So, if you didn't watch Heat and you order this pay-per-view and you see Chief Morley coming out as referee, you're wondering, when the hell did this happen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You think they should have made this decision on Raw last Monday?
Probably. I mean, that just tells you that they've totally given up on the Chief Morley character to have him relegated to a Heat decision. So
there's that. And then prior to this match, RVD and Kane actually cut a really good backstage promo where RVD drops all the jokes and he says, "What are we gonna do? We're going to get screwed out of our tag team titles because it doesn't matter how badly we kick the Dudley Boyz' asses. Chief Morley is not going to let us win this match." And RVD, for once, was being, Logical.
Please try and do that again with Rob Van Dam voice.
Okay, let me see if I can do it. Ooh, that I'm really gonna be hot-shotting this one.
It's okay.
It doesn't matter how badly we kick the Dudley Boyz' asses. Chief Morley is not gonna let us win this match, man. Dude,
okay. Yeah, Chief Morley, yeah, he's a stupid head, Kane. You know, I see a sign.
And,
I see a sign in the crowd. It says Kane Dewey. Kane Dewey. I mean, first off, Dewey's too little to be Kane. You know, I don't know. There's your impromptu Rob Van Dam impression contest for the viewers.
Going into this match, you notice that the Dudley Boyz are kind of reluctant heels in this match. Devon's coming out. He's still fired up. Bubba has his hands on his hip and he's kind of shaking his head like, I don't want to do this, but we have to for reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not like Bischoff said, join the administration or you're fired, or Bubba, I know you're in some financial hardships right now. You got a family support, join my administration, or, you know, you're going to be broke for the rest of it. No, they're just doing it just to do it. Yeah. And the Dudleys obviously don't want to do this. So,
and Bubba's beats me, man. I mean, it sounds like 2021 WWE booking. Sounds like things have not changed. But I mean, I'll give Bubba Ray Dudley credit where it's due, because he was definitely committed to being a heel for this match, because he starts off with Van Dam and he actually does mock Van Dam. He goes, Bubba Ray Dudley, like right to the crowd, and it was amazing. I totally forgot about that, and I was like,
it was great. Yeah,
Bubba Ray Dudley's like my new favorite heel of all time. He's so great.
Oh yeah,
so great. Yeah. But the crowd chants, we want tables. The Dudley Boyz are heels, and there's DQs in this match. Chief Morley is fast counting for the Dudleys, and we're off to the races. They hit the what's up on Van Dam with Morley distracted. Of course, Kane is the one with the hot tag because he has the fire gimmick, and that's what hot tag means. They go on fire. Yeah, I know. But there was a very nice neck breaker out of a monkey flip. Kane is flying through the air with that big clothesline that he always did. Man, Kane really does not get enough credit for how agile he was. Like, when he was in his prime.
Oh, no, especially in 03?
Like, Pete Kane right here.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we get to the finish of the match, and this is where you're probably going to flip a biscuit here, my friend. Kane tries
Not necessarily. I actually really enjoyed this finish.
Yeah, I mean, well, Kane tries to hit the chokeslam, and Chief Morley hits a low blow on Kane, and I'm like, again, this partnership with Morley and the Dudleys doesn't really make any sense to begin with, so, like, it just felt very off to me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But yes, Chief Morley does clothesline Bubba on accident, and then Devon has had enough at this point. He's had enough.
Morley must have one wicked clothesline because Bubba fell like a ton of bricks and he stayed down for the count.
Yes, he did. He was
like, damn, I did not think Morley was that strong.
No. Well, I mean, good thing this is the last time you're going to see Chief Morley on pay-per-view. So, spoiler alert for Judgment Day. So, what we have here is actually Devon unloading on Chief Morley for revenge for what he did to his half-brother. And then we get Lance Storm interference because Lance Storm and Chief Morley were tag team partners for a very short time. And Lance Storm is taking exception to this. He goes in, he goes after Devon. Bubba hits a Bubba Bomb on Storm. It's absolute chaos at this point. It is so... Can I use the word overbooked to describe this?
Yes, but it was a fun kind of overbooked because the crowd was really into it. They were screaming for the Dudley Death Drop. They hit the 3D on Chief Morley.
Yes.
They turn around. Kane goes for a chokeslam. He boots Bubba Ray in the face. He hits the chokeslam on Devon. RVD hits a 5-star frog splash.
Such a
RVD and Kane retain the World Tag Team titles, and the crowd popped. It was a very fun finish just because it was one of those, fine, sure, it's overbooked. Take all that away. I'm sure the crowd had a good time watching that finish because it was bonkers.
I'm not saying I didn't have a good time watching this match. It was very enjoyable in the 3-star range for me. But was it overbooked? Absolutely, for sure. But The thing with this match,
I don't want to say this is match of the night, but it's the match I had the most fun with. It was the most fun match of the night.
It's not my match of the night, believe it or not. It's going to be something else later on in the show. But the thing that always makes me laugh about this match is how quickly the Dudley Boyz turned heel to get here, and just how quickly they turned back into baby faces after that. Again, that just screams volumes about the, like, I don't want to say the inconsistency of WWE's booking. I think that's a little bit too extreme, but I think it's a real testament to the talent of the Dudley Boyz to be able to do that in just one match. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So
what you have here is a handful of talent that WWE didn't know what the fuck to do at this point. The Dudleys, RVD and Kane, hell, Val Venus and Lance Storm to an extent. You know, Regal's on the shelf. There was a sign in the audience that says, "We miss Regal." I do too.
I miss Regal so much. Yeah, we're probably not going to get to Regal for a while on these.
Speaking of parallels between 03 and 2021, how crazy is it that still you got the legit tag teams on SmackDown, and then you got this craziness on Raw? Just kind of like today.
Pretty insane, especially because RVD and Kane do give you RK Bro vibes when you go back and watch this.
Absolutely, they do.
With that in mind, we do have Stacy Keibler confronting Tori Wilson, paying off that segment from earlier after Sable was gossiping in Stacy's ear. And then they start a cat fight in the locker room, a literal cat fight, because somebody's cat ran behind Tori Wilson at this point. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. I was like, what the hell?
Where did the cat come from? Who brought a cat to the arena? Who brought a kitty to Backlash? Like, that's my question.
Oh my God.
Was it Molly Holly? Was it Molly Holly, a cat person?
I would have shit all over this segment, but it's Tori and Stacy. I love them. I can't. If this was anybody else, I would have hated it.
Well, but at least I was able to stomach this better than the Miller Lite catfight girls crap we got at WrestleMania.
I was gonna say, you know, if it was that, I would have hated it. But then, I mean, do we just want to jump to that segment now? Get this whole fucking thing out of the way.
Wait, which one?
It's on my mind.
The test one?
Yeah. So so
they
they continue brawling. Well, Sable tells Stacy that Test is cheating with Tori Wilson. Stacy throws her plate of food down, which that's a waste of food, Stacy. Consider that next time.
How dare she waste her appetizers?
It was like a piece of broccoli and a carrot stick. I digress.
They're just veggies. Veggie train.
She goes and finds Tori Wilson. They try to do that whole, oh, you knew? Oh, yeah, well, like, you know, that whole trope there. They start fighting. They start brawling backstage. And a not bad fight, may I add. And then in a really, really, really good spot that looked like it almost wasn't supposed to happen. Tori pushes Stacy into an equipment case, and with perfect timing, this bin full of items falls directly on Stacy Keibler's head.
Looked nasty.
Which they stop, and Tori's all concerned. I'm like, bitch, you two were beating the shit out of each other for like 30 minutes straight, and now you're concerned because a bucket hit her on the head.
Yep.
And who comes to her rescue? It's big pop-up from Scott Steiner.
Hi, Scott Steiner. Good to see you. Do you need a fucking mic?
Wrestled on Heat, by the way.
Oh, geez.
In the pre-show match against Rico. And beat him in less than 3 minutes.
How the mighty have fallen indeed. I'm sure he was booed out of the building in that 3-minute match. But
Steiner lifts up Stacy Keibler. She goes up to Test. Test is not concerned that his girlfriend just got hit in the head. He is yelling at her because Scott Steiner is carrying her. So Scott Steiner, being the great gentleman he is, puts Stacy Keibler down and walks away. Fuck both of you guys. Fuck both of you guys.
Yeah.
That is not how you treat a lady.
It is really not. Poor Stacy deserved so much better than this storyline that we're going to get into.
He's getting screamed at by Test. And ladies and gentlemen, it only gets worse from here.
Stay tuned for Bad Blood. Stay tuned for Bad Blood.
Only gets worse from here.
But yeah, with that being said, I mean, two women who really were treated very well in the main roster at this time are up next, Tomas.
Here we go. It's Jazz with Theodore Long in her corner.
Holla, player.
a heel Theodore Long. How many times can you say you've seen that?
Okay, rewatching the show, I honestly forgot that Teddy Long was Jazz's heel manager at this point, and the key word being heel, because I'm so used to Teddy Long playing up to the crowd and, like, you know, doing the holla 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 jiggy with it. But
I remember as a kid,
it was so
Theodore
weird.
Long being such a heel that when they announced him for the SmackDown general manager, I was mad. I'm like, oh, this little pipsqueak, this asshole is going to be the general manager of SmackDown. And then I fell in love with him. So this is my introduction to Theodore Long. Look, we know Theodore Long has been in the business for decades. He's done it all. He's been a referee. He's been a manager. Hell, for a short minute, he was a wrestler. And, you know, now here he is in a manager role. His first client was Jazz. And this was a very nice pairing as she goes to challenge Trish Stratus for the WWE Women's Championship. This was a short match, but I think these ladies put a lot into this match.
They surely did. And I don't want to toot my own horn about me being 6 years old, recognizing Teddy Long at this point, but I saw him walk out with Jazz when I ordered this pay-per-view live, and I distinctly remember pointing at him and being like, wasn't he a referee just like a month ago? You know? Like, yeah, it was, just, again, it's a testament to how amazing Teddy Long is and how talented he is. So, they do have a, so Trish is selling her ribs, and Jazz does hit a glam slam playa at that point. I did write that literally verbatim, and I'm just saying that. Glam slam playa.
Also, why is Trish Stratus selling her ribs? Because part of that excellent storyline with the tag team titles, the Dudley Boyz were ordered to attack Trish Stratus on Raw. So didn't they put her through a table?
They sure did. They put her through a table, Mae Young style. So
that wasn't the first time the Dudley Boyz put Trish Stratus to a table. What is wrong with WWE?
I don't know.
What the hell is wrong with WWE?
I don't know. Look, it was a very different time for WWE, and they were not very safe. Not very safe.
It really was.
But there is.
Y'all need to treat women better. Damn it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Treat the women in your lives with so much respect, everybody. But
yes.
So you do have a. You do have a single leg Boston Crab straight out of a Stratosphere, which is an absolutely beautiful reversal. Jazz is such an amazing wrestler.
Hey, Boston Crab, and they're in Massachusetts.
Single leg motherfucking Boston Crab. So, and then Trish hit a Boston Crab right after that, right into the STF, which is, you know, again, she pops. So, Trish does go through her comeback. She hits the chick kick for 2. Then she goes to hit the Stratisfaction, but here's where things get interesting, because Teddy Long, being the entertaining motherfucker that he is, he takes one of his shoes, which I'm sure have a very dense heel on them, no pun intended. So Teddy takes one of his shoes and he throws it at Trish and breaks up the pin. And then Trish looks at him and she's like, what the hell is going on? And then
hits her square right in the fucking head. And Theodore Long is just like, oh no, it was the fan. He pointed the fan behind him and said, he did it.
That was my favorite thing. That was my favorite thing. Like, Teddy was caught red-handed and he was like, no, not Trish. It was him, player. It was him. So,
could you imagine if the security wasn't paying attention and they believed him and they threw that guy out of the arena? That guy probably would have had a story to tell.
Oh, that guy probably would have been pissed off out of his mind that he was gypped out of seeing the main event, but front and center. But yeah, so Teddy blames the fan, which does lead into a Jazz roll-up for a 3 count. Brand new women's champion. To Tomas's point, I'm sure he loves this, but they hot potato the women's title straight out of WrestleMania to Backlash.
Oh yeah, Trish Stratus at this point was just the transitional. Let's get the title off of somebody just so we can get it onto somebody else.
So
Trish Stratus is a veteran at this point. Now you see why people compare her to Charlotte Flair a lot, because I feel like that's what Charlotte Flair does a lot of days. This was a nice little match on the show. Glad to see the women get a spot on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving this 2 3/4 out of 5. It's a really good women's match for the time period. Definitely would have liked more time for the women to work, for sure.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, for sure. Definitely good wrestling and some hilarious antics on the outside by Teddy Long, who is a diamond in the rough, for sure. It's a great manager.
Yep, and this is just the beginning for him as a manager. We're going to be seeing a lot of Teddy Long for like the next 11, 12 years.
Absolutely. Yep. I can't wait to talk about it more and more. And, maybe get into another impression contest if Tomas is up for it. But we shall see, my friends. But coming up next, speaking of SmackDown, we do have a very interesting attraction style matchup here. It is true David versus Goliath here, my friend. The Big Show is going one-on-one with Rey Mysterio. Basically, this feud is all built around Rey Mysterio embarrassing the Big Show. Like, I don't want to say unintentionally, but the Big Show is embarrassed that Rey Mysterio has knocked him on his ass. Not once, but twice.
Yep.
And the Big Show wants a pay-per-view match out of this. And Rey Mysterio is so cautious on the way to the ring. He is not his usual excited self. I thought that
this
was
the big
touch.
blow off to the Undertaker feud. Was Big Show was going to start feuding with Mysterio. And they showed a moment on SmackDown that I totally forgot about, that Rey Mysterio actually cost Big Show a match with Tajiri.
Yep. Yeah, that's very true.
That was, again, I remember the build for this match being very fun, and I remember this match being very fun because we had never seen something like this before. Big Show being 7 foot tall, 500 pounds, and Rey Mysterio being what? 5'8", 175 pounds, soaking wet.
He's like 5'5", 5'6".
Yeah.
So
that was such a marvel to see, being 9 years old, seeing this crazy size difference, and then wondering how the hell is Mysterio going to fight this guy?
Yeah, I remember growing up. I mean, my house was big fans of Rey Mysterio, so we were all just scared for this little guy's life going in there with the Big Show. And Rey was just running around all around ringside. It was just a cat and mouse game for a little bit until Big Show finally gets a hold of him. And oh my God, these chops! I'm surprised Mysterio's chest didn't cave in totally. Like, Jesus Christ, it's like being hit with a big old frying pan. So.
Oh yeah. Also, these guys had a lot to cram into a less than 4-minute match.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Sorry, just had to get a little bit of beverage there, but
you're good. But the ending of the match is very, very fun. Mysterio first hits a 619 to the gut of Big Show. Then he hits a 619 to the knees.
I thought he hit him in the dick with the 619.
Oh God, if that's the case, he kind of hit him in the abdominal region.
I know. But just saying, that is enough to slow any man down, even the large performance, Tomas. So
619 to the gut, 619 to the knees, 619 to the face, and then Cole says the stupidest thing in the world. He's going for the West Coast pop. Like,
shit. No shit, he's going for the West Coast pop,
No, I look at that, I'm like, Mysterio's not capable of hitting the West Coast pop on the Big Show. In today's day and age, he's going for that sit-down senton. Like, come on, be a little realistic.
Yeah, there's the Just Bring It commentary coming into play. I want to see Rey Mysterio hit a West Coast pop.
Sound bites put together.
Yep.
Unfortunately, though, the impossible does not happen. Mysterio gets caught in midair. He is held up for a good few seconds in an amazing feat of strength. He gets chokeslammed for his troubles. 1, 2, 3. The Big Show wins. Was there any doubt in anyone's mind? Was there any doubt in anyone's mind that Big Show was going to win this match?
No, it was a very impressive chokeslam. I gave this 2 stars out of 5. It wasn't really much of a match, unfortunately, but as a novelty for what they were going for, absolutely it worked. And both guys, I think, played their roles absolutely splendidly. And what's more memorable is this heinous aftermath, Tomas. You want to describe this for the viewers?
Yeah, just like the opener with the tag team titles. I don't really remember the match. I remember what happened after the match. And this is absolutely insane. So Mysterio is selling this chokeslam to the point where he's got to get put on a stretcher. He gets put on the stretcher and Big Show comes back. And Big Show hoists up the stretcher with Mysterio on it like a baseball bat. And he swings it against the steel pole as hard as he can. And if that's not bad enough, he lets go of Mysterio. And since Mysterio's arms are strapped into the stretcher, he lands head first onto the floor. It is a disgusting spot.
Really,
it is nasty to watch every single time.
Yeah, it made me cringe going back and rewatching it, even because I know what happens. It's almost like the monster in a horror movie. It's almost like you're waiting for the jump scare in a horror movie that you've seen a lot. And like just watching that was just it was just as horrifying as it was when I was 6 years old, which you can imagine
Like,
left a lasting impact on me. So
it really did.
but
Just like, what the hell? How impressive, and damn, Mysterio, that's got to be one of the worst bumps Mysterio's ever taken.
yeah, 5 surgeries in his left knee, ain't got nothing on this spot. So
Yeah.
you know, and credit where it's due, because he had to place a lot of trust in the Big Show to pull that off effectively. So he tried to pull it off as safely as he could. You know, I use the word safe very loosely here, but
He did. Like I said, the impact against the steel pole wasn't that bad. It's how Mysterio's head hit the floor afterward. And there was no way for him to protect that. He just had to brace himself and hope for the best.
Absolutely disgusting, my friend.
God,
and
that is not a spot they could rehearse. They probably just had to do it once and hope for the best.
And this was just the beginning of a monster push for the Big Show through the spring of 2003. And that does play into the Judgment Day pod, which is coming up next month, and his main event,
including a revival of a feud in a match that we never thought we'd see. That I'm going to jump the gun and say it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun.
I can't wait to talk about that match with you, my friend.
Yeah.
But hey, speaking of the WWE Championship, oh boy,
here we go. Okay. No. This is the good one. You said WWE Championship. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a match. Looking back on it now, holy shit! People do not remember this match.
No.
Brock Lesnar, the WWE Champion, is defending his championship in his first WWE Championship opportunity ever. The Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena. And watching the hype package for this match, this is when they really started putting faith in Cena. Cena had to win a tournament to get here, a tournament that featured Chris Benoit, Rhino, and The Undertaker. And Cena beat The Undertaker on his way. And Cena beat The Undertaker, and this is the part that blows my mind. Undertaker was feuding with Nunzio in the FBI. Can you believe that? Taker, at this stage in his career, is feuding with Nunzio.
Yep.
That is absolutely insane. Taker was not kidding when he said he wanted to elevate the other talent, because he sure did. He was jobbing for these guys.
Yep, well, he let the FBI beat him up, and he let Cena beat him because he had a lot of faith that John Cena was going to be a big star. And that's another thing. He beat Taker in the semifinals of that tournament. He would beat Chris Benoit in the finals to get this title shot. And there were some pretty interesting raps along the way, including one of my favorites. Me, Brock Lesnar, here comes the pain. God built me strong. Forget to give me brain. You know?
And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Cena take the F5, the leg to the pole during the build to this match?
What's
or
that?
Was that after? Remember the F5 hit smashing the leg against the steel pole? Was that the build to this pay-per-view?
It was. It was the build to this pay-per-view, and I think John Cena also changed his the name of his finisher to the FU at this point during his build as a spoof of the F5. So
yeah, and that's how it stuck. It stuck like that forever. Okay, so I know we've made a lot of comparisons to John Cena and other certain star that's been making his way through the ranks when it comes to rapping in Max Caster in AEW. Hold on. Let me finish before we blow up. Not considering what happened. You know what the difference between Caster and Cena is? Cena's rhymes were original.
Yes.
Cena didn't have to rely on, the shock factor and pop culture references, which is nothing wrong with Caster. Again, Caster, with the exception of what you said, keep doing what you do. It's working. But Cena's rhymes were just more original. Listening to his entrance, it's crazy how he was able to come up with these original rhymes, and they worked.
On the subject of his entrance, what was this weird New York Yankees swim cap look that he had going on? It was so strange. Like, why didn't he just come out with a ball cap? That swim cap it was not. It was very.
The beanie was weird, but hey, Cena knew how to get heat. He was in his hometown of Massachusetts, and he still wore the rival colors. What a bastard.
Massachusetts makes me sick, is what he said. But you know what one of my favorite lines of his rap was? Involving Mick Foley. It ended up, intertwining all three faces of Foley into that one line. He's like, the big burn was, I'm straight, you're dude love, so get off the cactus, Jack. And like,
oh, I love it. Love
great.
it.
It was so great. Like you wonder why Cena got over with us as much as he did, because he was not afraid to say those things on the air. Absolutely was not afraid to say those things. And also, I got to point out, because you don't want to, leave out the WWE champion of all people at this time, but white meat babyface Brock Lesnar is just so strange. Like, there is just something,
isn't it?
It's almost like this is a weird time capsule match to go back and watch between Brock Lesnar and John Cena.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Babyface Lesnar versus heel Cena. You will never see that again. You will never see that in today's day and age.
Absolutely not. But there is some absolutely freakish strength by Brock Lesnar. John Cena is a big dude in his own right, and Brock is picking him up like a freaking cruiserweight. And Brock is Brock came out with this gigantic bandage, which looked like the size of Wyoming on his forehead from a belt shot. It was.
Hey guys, I'm hurt. Can you see it?
It was a weird
Can you
look
not
for
see
Brock
I'm hurt?
Lesnar. Yeah, the biggest bandage I've ever seen in my life from one belt shot. So Brock was bleeding pretty quickly when he hit the steel steps, and when that blood was coming out, oh my God, did it not stop. It was gushing out of Lesnar's head like a freaking garden hose. I honestly forgot how much he was bleeding in this match, but there it was.
Cena, like a shark smelling that blood, he went on to attack, and that is one good thing and one bad thing. The bad thing, this match really exposed Lesnar. Cena exposed the hell out of him, because Cena worked the fuck out of Lesnar.
Which is so weird, because a lot of people might have considered John Cena to be the green one going into this, and Brock was the big white meat babyface, face of the company, face of SmackDown, and John Cena exposed him. It was so strange.
He did.
And,
he exposed him to the point where the fans were starting to turn and cheer for Cena. I heard those Let's Go Cena chants.
Me too. And the fans were chanting Let's Go Cena not even a couple minutes after they were chanting Cena sucks. Not this, these were not dueling chants, but it was just jarring. This is a weird match to go back and watch.
2003 was a weird year.
Yeah, but you know what? This was my match of the night. This was a very physical match. Brock Lesnar certainly brought his own. He brought all the suplexes, as he should. Brock Irish whips himself into the corner to break the sleeper hold that Cena had on him, which is the same exact thing that broke Kurt Angle's neck not even 2 months ago. So, Brock should probably never do that move ever again if he were to do that. Kind of like, you notice how he didn't do a shooting star press in this match?
Oh no, I think he should give that another chance. Why not? One more time. Why not? Do it 3/4 of the way out of the ring too.
Are you saying that?
Hey Paul, watch me do this split.
Yeah, but John Cena, Brock is going for an F5. John Cena
Ricochet, who's he?
Oh my God. Why didn't he do that in his match with Ricochet at Super Showdown? Why didn't he do that? Just to show him up.
Fuck you, Kushida.
Fuck you, John Morrison. Fuck you. Shooting star press.
Fuck you, Reggie.
So we're just booking more entertaining 2021 WWE now. But anyway, John Cena, this is again weird to say. John Cena hits a low blow on Brock Lesnar, goes for the inside cradle, does not get the win. But then he goes for his patented steel chain, which would become a huge weapon of choice for Cena. Brock Lesnar immediately catches him, hits one F5 for a 3 count. Brock retains the title. Was there any doubt? This is a match of the night for sure, but it's only 3.5 stars. This is a very physical match. It's an interesting, this is a very interesting time capsule to look back on. It's a weird match to rewatch.
And how weird is it? The way Lesnar won the match, that's how Cena would win his matches, like in 07.
Yeah.
Get the shit kicked out of him, hit your finisher, over.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was.
What a weird match.
Brock was so miscast as the white meat babyface, but if you will, this is not the end for John Cena, obviously, in the main event. But if you will, this was certainly the prototype for Big Match John. There you go.
You got me there.
I did.
You got me there.
Oh, but
hey, Zack.
this next match does not get me at all.
You're ready to get mad.
Yep, I am so ready.
Are you ready to get mad? Are you ready to get a little sad too? But mostly mad.
The 6-man tag team match is up next. Triple H teaming up with Ric Flair and Chris Jericho versus, get this team, guys. You ready for this? Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and a returning Kevin Nash after what feels like his 70th torn quad. He spent like 9 months on the shelf after tearing his quad from running across the ring. In a tag match.
I'm getting a text right now, actually. What does it say? OMG, Kevin Nash thought he was dead. LOL.
Okay.
That was from my brother.
Okay, CM Punk. But I gotta say, I mean, here's the thing. There was a backstage segment with the baby faces kind of planning, and Nash was basically just saying, leave Triple H to me. Don't worry about me. Which is a weird omen, considering this is a guy who tore his quad running across the ring the last time he was in the ring. You could not help but worry for this man.
Okay.
So
the build for this match was fucking everywhere.
It was dog shit is what it was.
So, okay, so stupid 9-year-old me, who saw Kevin Nash the year prior, sees Kevin Nash now and goes, oh my God, who's he? I like him because he's fighting Triple H.
Oh my God.
So let me try and explain the build to this match as best as I can.
Oh, here we go.
Let's take the 3 main event feuds that are going right now in WWE. Flair, Triple H, Booker, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, and let's lump them all together in this weird mishmash of shit. Yeah. So on the Raw after Mania, Nash makes his return. But whose side is Nash on? He's Triple H's friend. He used to be Shawn Michaels' friend. Oh, by the way, let's be lazy and just rekindle the Shawn Michaels Triple H feud because we have nobody else.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah, don't put the world title on Booker. Let's rekindle the Michaels Triple H feud. So Booker, and obviously they included Booker because they felt bad for him. And so they're doing this back and forth with whose side is he on? Is Nash with Triple H or is Nash with Michaels? Nash randomly decides to attack Booker T and Michaels. So Triple H tells Nash, make your decision tonight. It's either me or him. And if you're with Michaels, you're obviously against me. Wow, that's some petty high school bullshit right there. The only good thing to come out of this feud was, so they booked the 6-man tag team match because the only good thing to come out of this feud is that Booker actually got a rematch against Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship on the Go Home Raw to Backlash, and Shawn Michaels is a special guest referee. So in this, Booker's about to get the win, goddammit. And then Flair interferes, and Jericho interferes, and Nash interferes, and then Triple H low blows Nash, and then JR says, oh, it looks like Triple H made the decision for Nash. And then, oh my God, I'm so bad.
Dude, my head is spinning from this. I mean, in an alternate universe, and a better alternate universe, Booker T would be holding the big gold belt at this point. Like, couldn't they have just made this 6-man tag for the world title? Like, couldn't they have done something?
Like they did in Backlash 09?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've done that before. They did it at King of the Ring 2000, put the WWF title on the line at that point in that main event. But
so you mean to tell me that WWE insisted on this 6-man tag, except as opposed to putting the world title on Booker T?
Yeah, that's what they were going with.
You wanted Triple H to dick around with Kevin Nash, that's fine. Have them do that in a separate feud and let Booker have his damn title reign.
And it really did not help that this 6-man tag was as boring as it was. Like, oh my God, it was so slow.
Oh, God.
And we had Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho in the ring working together again. How could it be so boring? Like,
real quick, word about Jericho. His handlebar mustache without the goatee, that was fucking weird. Never again, Jericho.
No.
Never again. That was fucking. I was staring at Jericho's face for a good 5 minutes going, what the hell is, he doesn't have his goatee. The thing that made him look like a douche in the first place. He cut it off.
Yep.
Oh, God. What is there to say about this match?
Not much, really. Not much. But,
boring.
It really
they could have did this on Raw.
There's heat on Booker. Shawn Michaels gets a hot tag, and there's heat on Shawn now. They're softening up his legs so Flair can lock in the figure 4. But then it all builds up to what the match is all about anyway. It's the return of Kevin Nash, who did have a pretty underrated theme song. I must admit. That's a pretty nice Kevin Nash theme song, all things considered. But
He did.
Kevin Nash
was like a remix of his old Diesel theme.
Kinda, but with like another little Jim Johnston guitar twinge in there. So
here comes the harmonica.
I would much rather sing the new Kevin Nash remix than watch this match again. But Kevin Nash, so many slams. Kevin Nash no-sells a Ric Flair chop, which I call bullshit on because those always hurt. You know, you can't no-sell a Ric Flair knife edge chop.
No.
There is a lion salt to Shawn Michaels as he's in the figure 4 leg lock, which I must admit that was
pretty cool.
That was cool.
That was pretty cool.
This match, the best way I can describe it is it's very average chaos. That's pretty much all it was. It's just a big, gigantic schmoz of all the main eventers.
You could have did this on Raw.
You really could have, but then you get here's the thing that really gets me. So you get the most contrived ref bump of all time. He falls out of the ring. Kevin Nash then hits his patented jackknife powerbomb on Chris Jericho. But then Triple H hits Nash with a sledgehammer, and he pins Kevin Nash clean as a whistle. So I call bullshit on this immediately, because if there was a match for WWE to be at its most WWE, it is this match right here. And what I mean by that is if the title is not on the line, then why not put Kevin Nash over in this match? Why not?
Exactly.
You know?
And Flair is there to take the pin.
Or Jericho. He could have just pinned Jericho after the jackknife. Who cares who was legal?
That's why you have 60. And also, I like how Shawn Michaels played a factor in this, but I feel like Booker T got eliminated from the process like 5 minutes ago, and he was nowhere to be seen at the end of this match.
See you in the Intercontinental title hunt, Booker. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's a damn shame that the fact that they opted for this over putting the world title on Booker T. This was very boring. I did not like this match at all. And two things. Number one, it gets worse from here. Number two, it's been a year. It's been 1 year since Triple H jobbed to Hulk Hogan and started this whole domino effect. So what do you always say, fans? You only have yourselves to blame.
Yep. Good man, dude. It's God, I wanted to forget about Triple H versus Hulk Hogan, but you always make me remember.
Also,
you like that match more than I did
the Reign of Terror. The Reign of Terror.
Yeah,
it ain't over yet. It's not even close to being over.
Nope. We got a long way to go, my friends. Buckle up.
Nope.
But especially as we go through these 2003 pods, we're about to have some fun with these Triple H matches. But I mean, all things considered, on a personal note, Hunter, I hope you're doing well. Recover quickly, please. But I mean,
oh yeah,
it's just, I don't know. But just laughing at his stuff now is just like, you shouldn't have had a long reign of terror, though. Like,
yeah, remember, he won the title back in December. It's like May at this point.
What was so wrong with Kevin Nash winning this match? I don't get it, especially to set up the world title match at Judgment Day, but like...
Yeah, which ends up happening, and oh God, we'll get there when we get there. We will get there when we get there. I am in no rush. Exactly.
We'll see what happens, man. But at least we got something fun to talk about at the end of this pod. Nice little palate cleanser.
Oh my God.
And of all people,
looking back at this, the main event, do you ever think you would see Goldberg versus The Rock?
No, it's I mean,
what kind of
if it were 2001
SmackDown versus Raw 2013 create your own wrestler bullshit is this?
Beats me, man. I mean, here's the thing though, if it were 2001, this is probably a better match. Like if this match occurred during the Invasion angle, for example, like it probably would have been a much bigger deal. But I mean, give them credit where it's due. The Rock comes out after beating Stone Cold the night before at Mania 19 in Seattle, and he's like, "The Rock has come back to see all you jabronis show appreciation to the great one." And then who comes out to interrupt him because it's the Raw after WrestleMania but the debuting Bill Goldberg. And Goldberg...
Goldberg, I hate to tell you this, but you're a little late to the party. You're a little late to the party.
You're a little late.
Like you said, 01, if you would have came, that would have been awesome. It's 2003 now.
Well, the reason why he wasn't a part of the invasion angle is because WWE did not want to pay off the Time Warner contracts that Goldberg had on his head. So, I mean, if WWE were a little bit more generous, they could have, but alas,
it was cool to see. And being 9, obviously, okay, I never watched WCW as a kid, didn't even know what WCW was, but Goldberg is one of those people that you know who he is. You look at him and you go, oh yeah, I know that guy.
And he's an ass kicker. I knew who Goldberg was because my dad would buy me. See, I was a videotape collector from back in the day. And WCW and Warner Brothers put out these like best of compilations of like best of Fall Brawl, best of Halloween Havoc, best of Great American Bash. I definitely watched that Great American Bash was. And I distinctly remember recognizing Goldberg instantly because I watched his match with Conan at Great American Bash 98. And I was like, man, this Goldberg is a fucking ass kicker. You know, he comes in like an old 1960s Clint Eastwood, as Paul Heyman would describe him. And he just goes in, gets the job done, and then he gets out of there. That's what Goldberg is all about. And I was really entranced by him. So I was really intrigued to see what he would do with the WWE when I was a little kid. And seeing him spear my favorite wrestler on his first night in the company was just something else. I mean, first of all, it rubbed me the wrong way. Thank you for spearing The Rock like that. But The Rock's sell of that spear was just so amazing. Really put over.
And the build to this match was pretty damn good, too. We get another Rock concert. And what's built around this Rock concert is that The Rock is scared that Goldberg's going to come out and kick his ass again. And in one of the instances where they tease Goldberg coming out, there's a truck. And in the back of that truck, there's a hooded figure. And you're wondering if it's Goldberg. He rips the hood off. It's the Hurricane. What's up with that? Gilbert was first. Yeah, Gilbert was first. Gilbert came out. Rock kicked his ass, and then the truck comes out, and it's the Hurricane. What's up with that? So serve it as a distraction, and The Rock says the best line of the world. Oh, don't worry about him. That's the Hamburglar. Arrest him. Officer, arrest him. He's guilty of smuggling chicken McNuggets up his ass.
Oh my God. The Rock was just having fun at this point because he knew he was going off to film, I believe, Walking Tall after this match with Goldberg. But I
saw that movie.
Yeah, it was an interesting film for sure. If you guys have not seen
it, I wanted to see it. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
my parents, bless their hearts. This is why I say I want to see this movie. Why? The Rock's in it. Okay.
There you go. I'm a big fan of the
Rundown. Did you get this movie for your kid? What was that?
I'm a big fan of The Rundown, specifically directed by Peter Berg. I think that's one of The Rock's best early movies. Not The Game Plan. Not The Game Plan. That's a bad one. But
I saw that one because The Rock was in it, and it was funny because I was at my aunt's house and my little cousins, and we were watching that movie. I was like, "Oh yeah, The Rock's in it." My aunt looks at me. "Oh yeah, The Rock's in this movie." Looks over at my little cousin. "Oh yeah, the little girl from Corey in the House is in this." I was like, "Hey, it's got something for everybody."
It sure does. It sure does. I totally forgot she was from Corey in the House. But do you want to talk about this?
Anime.
But anywho, do you want to talk about this interesting Rock promo that he has before the match with Terry Runnels?
A great Rock promo where basically this whole feud is built around, is The Rock scared of Goldberg? Which the answer is, of course, it's fucking Goldberg. Why wouldn't you be afraid of him?
The Rock is a chicken shit heel. I never thought I would laugh at so much, but he was just having fun with this part at this point. You know,
and you know how some people mask their fears and insecurities through comedy? That's what The Rock was doing. Because remember, on the Go Home Raw, The Rock actually beat the shit out of Goldberg with the chair. So The Rock is going into this match with a ton of momentum. And The Rock is talking about how he hit Goldberg smack with the chair. And he hit him again. And then he hit him again. Yeah. And then he says, "Let me ask something. Well, what's Goldberg going to do?" I bust up laughing every time I see that. I don't know what's funnier.
Promo.
That or him going, "Oh, let me talk in your language, brother. What you going to do?" I don't know which one's funnier. I want more promos like that from The Rock.
It's honestly kind of a bittersweet podcast here because this is the last time we do get to talk about Hollywood Rock. But
yeah,
I mean, it was
this would be The Rock's penultimate swan song.
Yep.
Like we're getting there. Like we'll talk about that after the match, but you know, it's a very bittersweet match. And
Love
even
you,
me
Rock.
as a kid, I didn't like The Rock. I thought he was being, you know,
I loved The Rock. I loved The Rock as a kid.
There was
fun of me.
I would watch The Rock and be like, why is he being bad? But in the back of my mind, in the deepest depths of my heart, I'm like, that's still The Rock, and I love him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going into this match, number one, this is a hot take. I actually really, really liked Goldberg's WWE theme song.
I did too. It was good, and
it's not as iconic.
They dubbed it over.
It's not as iconic as the WCW theme, but it's good. I had to look it up on YouTube because I forgot what it sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my God, it's so good.
It's so intimidating, you know. But I mean, that WCW theme just hits different, you know. Even
it's
if
iconic,
it's dubbed
for sure.
over on the WWE shows, I mean, I don't mind either version. They're kind of interchangeable to me. But
say what you want about Goldberg. No, I do not like seeing him wrestle nowadays, but I still get chills when that music's playing and you're waiting for him to come to the ring.
Pretty
cool.
Loud Goldberg chants. And yeah, this Worcester mass crowd was ready to see a freaking bloodbath. And Goldberg makes his grand entrance and all these sparks. And the King with one of the lines of the night, ironically enough, when he asks, how does that not burn him up? And I'm like, that's a good question, King. That's a good question because we've always wondered that. How does Goldberg puff up all that smoke from the freaking, like, the gimmicks, the sparklers at the front?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So weird.
Yeah.
So this was one of those matches. So it was Rock was really playing up this match. Like he was really psyching himself up, knowing he was walking into the lion's den. He was a gladiator walking into the lion's den right now. The Rock knew he was gonna fucking lose this match. He knew he was gonna lose this match, but he was gonna prolong that loss as absolutely long as possible.
Yep, and the Rock is the one that tells the timekeeper to ring the bell, which is a nice, interesting attention to detail to prove to Goldberg that he's not scared of him. All the credit to the world to the Rock for making this as entertaining as it was, but don't sleep on Goldberg because he was, I mean, even though he was killing the Rock at WWE style, not WCW Goldberg style like 2016, but I mean, he was still killing him. And the crowd is also cheering the Rock at this point because how could they not? How could they not? He's just too entertaining, you know?
Maybe an unpopular opinion, but if this wasn't Rock's penultimate swan song, I think you could have gotten away with the WCW style finish here. You could have built it up as this big old thing, and I do think Goldberg could have squashed The Rock in less than a minute. But
yes.
I'm pretty sure Rock had some say in this match and say, hey, if this is my last match for a year or even longer than that, I'm wrestling. I'm going to wrestle this fucking match for
to the point where he
15 minutes?
Yeah, to the point where he lets Goldberg hit The Rock's finisher on The Rock. Goldberg hit a rock bottom.
And it didn't look bad.
It was a really good rock bottom. Yeah. Again,
13 minutes and 3 seconds.
Goldberg
Is it fair to say that this is Goldberg's best long match he's ever had? I think it's fair to say.
I think... Well, we have this, and he also wrestles Chris Jericho at Bad Blood, which is a match I don't remember at all, but I'm sure Jericho got a decent match out of him at least. So, we'll see.
But when it comes to like very, very long matches that Goldberg's put on, I think it's safe to say this is the best one he's had.
This is certainly a very, very entertaining main event. I was very surprised by it. I was going in expecting to hate it, and I was just like, hold on, this is Goldberg.
Oh, don't get me wrong. The Rock carried like 95% of this match.
Yeah.
He had to.
Of course he did. But this match could have done nothing but surprise me. And that's exactly what these two did, especially on a rewatch. I did not remember enjoying this match as much as I did growing up. I really got a kick out of it. Goldberg did go for the spear in the early going. He hits the ring post, and The Rock clears him. And, you know, The Rock is so proud that he sidestepped that spear. He was looking at the crowd, and he was like, hey, did you guys see that? And the crowd was cheering him. It was, again, The Rock was having too much fun.
It reminds me in one of the later WWE games, I think it's the first SmackDown versus Raw, we would play as The Rock a lot because we missed The Rock. And The Rock would do this weird, like, quick action event where he would, like, go for a clothesline, and then the opponent would try to go for another one, and he would counter into a DDT, and then The Rock would spring up and go.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly which one you're talking about. I love that little gimmick. But so The Rock then locks on a sharpshooter. Bret Hart must have been smiling somewhere because it was locked in on Goldberg, who ended his career. But in any case, you know, it's another topic for another time, surely. Then The Rock punches Goldberg right in the freaking nether regions, just straight on. And I do not remember that at all. But Jesus Christ. But there's a spear from Goldberg, and then they exchange strikes after that, which is odd psychology.
Very odd,
Very odd. Goldberg.
I think at one point Goldberg hits the spear, and Jonathan Coachman says, "Oh, he hit the spine buster." And then I think King is fighting with him. No, that was a spear. And Coachman said, "That was a spine buster." Like, oh my God.
Well, The Rock did spear Goldberg again. It's an entertaining match because there are stolen finishers, which everybody knows I love at this point.
Yeah.
So The Rock bottom for a close 2. And then The Rock hits a people's elbow also for a close 2. The crowd is begging for The Rock to win at this point, but, you know, they know he's not going to. But here's where I have a nitpick with the match. After The Rock hit the people's elbow, there shouldn't have been a pin. Goldberg should have gotten right back up. If they're going to portray Goldberg as a WCW-style killer like he was back in the heyday, like, he should have no-sold the worst finisher in wrestling history. I love you, Rock, but the people's elbow sucks. But the thing is, like, the Rock bottom, I get it. The people's elbow, you just made Goldberg look like a chump. But
oh yeah,
I mean, was there any doubt? Goldberg hits a spear. There's Goldberg sucks chance. He's the babyface. The Rock has an absolutely hilarious sell because he gets back up after the spear and he's like, "I'm good. I'm good. Let's keep going." Yeah. Goldberg then just
is that when he gets up? He slowly gets up and he goes. like the worst is over. He knows that well. He's gonna turn around and eat another spear.
Into another spear. Goldberg could have just like speared him out of his shoes right there. Like literally, The Rock could have untied his shoes while he was selling, and they were showing the replay. And Goldberg could have speared him so hard that he flies out of his shoes at that point. Would have been super awesome. But then Goldberg hits a jackhammer and gets a 3 count. You're going to think I'm crazy for this, Tomas. I gave this 3 stars for a Goldberg match. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Fair enough, honestly. Again, it's the best long match Goldberg's ever had. This is where the bittersweet part comes in. Like we talked about, this would be The Rock's penultimate swan song. The Rock would go off to film his movies. It's not going to be a while until we touch on this, so I think it's safe to talk about this now. We would not see The Rock until the following year's WrestleMania, when he would make a surprise return to be Mick Foley's partner in the Rock and Sock Connection to take on Evolution's Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Batista. But this is the end of The Rock's full-time gig with WWE. Hollywood Rock would dissipate. This was kind of The Rock saying, "This isn't goodbye. This is see you later." And I'm getting choked up just thinking about it.
Yeah, this is, especially me.
This would start the Goldberg era in WWE.
Yeah, The Rock is my favorite.
And with that being said, starting watching wrestling, watching The Rock, watching Stone Cold Steve Austin, seeing the rebirth of Hulk Hogan. And even though Hogan would stick around a little longer in the company, this is when we would kind of start seeing our heroes go away. And I will admit, after The Rock left, it did leave like a piece of my heart. There was a hole in my heart for a little bit. And I exploded when The Rock came back for WrestleMania 20. But in between all that, people would talk about The Rock and they would say, "When's he coming back?" They would tease The Rock. I remember the 3-minute warning when they gave that award to Jimmy Snuka and they teased it being The Rock. I was like, I want it to be The Rock. And every time The Rock's name come up, my ears would perk up. And I don't want to get like too sad with this. And I'm sorry if I make you sad when I say this. It's like being a dog and you hear that, the unlocking of the door and your ears perk up. like, that's how I would feel when I would hear about The Rock.
God.
And, I kind of sat patiently just saying, whenever you decide to come back, Rock, I'm ready. And, and maybe I should save this more for later when we talk about WrestleMania 20. But I will admit, I did become one of those fans that kind of got mad at The Rock because, I loved him and I didn't want to see him go away.
Yeah, it was, growing up, like I said, The Rock has always been such a huge influence on me and like my career path and my career choices. I want to be him when I grow up. That's how I always joke to people. I'm like, he's such a huge role model for me, man. But, when he left WWE when I was a kid, I was like, okay, when's he coming back? Is he coming back now?
Exactly.
I was always building up anticipation for it. And every time he does come back,
again,
to help Mick Foley, to help out Eugene, of all people, against the Coach, and one of my favorite Raw segments of all time. It was always such an amazing treat,
We'll talk about it more when we get past WrestleMania 20, but The Rock would pop up here and there, and then the drought began where he was gone for 7 years, and it was just... And that's why, even though the movies weren't that good, I wanted to see every single movie The Rock was in because I missed him.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see what he was up to. I was like, you know what? And that's why I tell everyone, when, again, even to this day, when they call him Dwayne Johnson, I go, that's The Rock. He is The Rock.
Skipper Rock in the Jungle Cruise, So,
he will always be The Rock to me first. And I don't care how big he gets and how many movies he makes. Yeah. Even he's a superhero right now as Black Adam. He will always be The Rock first.
But he, give the man credit where it's due. He went into a career path which he was not really anticipating, per se, and he's running with it. He's now the highest-grossing Hollywood movie star, I think, of all time. And he's doing stuff like the Jungle Cruise, right after his stint with WWE ended. He was doing stuff like Be Cool. He was doing a lot of stuff with Disney. He was doing
Be Cool. That was a movie that I remember back in the old days when you had to get Netflix by mail. I asked my dad to rent that movie because The Rock was in it. We watched it. We really didn't like it, but I didn't care because The Rock was there, and I wanted to watch The Rock.
The game plan wasn't really that good. The Gridiron Gang, that drama football type movie where The Rock was like the head coach with Exhibit. Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. But that was a very underrated rock film, by the way, if you haven't seen Gridiron Gang.
Yeah.
So,
and this may be an appropriate time to get into this little tangent, but I think we've all been there when it comes to these other wrestlers where we get a little selfish and be like, John Cena, for example. Wrestlers to us, especially to me and you, they always come first. And even though I'm very, very, very proud of Cena, and I was very, very, very proud of Batista, even with Batista, I'll admit, when Batista went away to do movies, I was just like, when you're coming back, we missed you. And, again, that's just like the ultimate, very emotional side of me as a wrestling fan.
Yeah. But in any regard, folks, this will be the end of The Rock for a while, but we're just getting started talking about Bill Goldberg in 2003. So
again, like I said, this wasn't The Rock's goodbye. This was The Rock's see you later.
Yes, absolutely. But other than that main event, this show really is not all that memorable. Backlash 2003 gets a 6 out of 10 for me. Unfortunately, as fun as that main event
I'll
was,
do you one better. 5.5 out of 10.
Oh, fuck it. 5 3/4 then for me. I'll just meet you in the middle.
It's there.
Yeah.
Go out of your way to watch Goldberg and The Rock just for the lulls and to see a piece of history. Hell, go back and watch Lesnar and Cena just to see a piece of history.
Yeah.
Everything else on the show blows. When the World Tag Team titles is your favorite part of the show, that's not a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, didn't necessarily blow, but there wasn't really anything that blew you out of the water like WrestleMania 19 did. But
if you bought this DVD, you bought it for the collection. Nothing else, nothing more. Nothing less, nothing more.
That's exactly why it's in my collection. I got it with the Tagged Classics when they used to do those like 2-packs. It was Backlash. And the next show we're going to be talking about Judgment Day 2003 next month, which nice little segue into that cheap plug. Stay tuned for Judgment Day 2003 next month. That's going to be October, a busy month for the channel. Lots of Halloween reviews coming out for that playlist. Tomas and I will be talking about Grand Slam, and we will be talking about Extreme Rules. So stay tuned for all that and much, much more, my friends. Just one last reminder, hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up on your way out. It's really beneficial to, just like Tomas just did. But my friend, it's good to have you back. Good to be talking wrestling with you again, as always. But
oh yeah, it's good to be back.
Oh yeah. With that being said, commence that back talk. See you guys for the next one.